Hello and welcome to the Temple of Enlightenment International Spiritual Center. My name is Issachar Bey, and I want to thank all of you for tuning in today. I want to thank all of you for your continued support and your consistency with being a part of our weekly teachings. It is imperative that those of you that are in this community, that we stay connected, that we stay under this great teaching, because this is the kind of teaching that will elevate you, that will put you in a new perspective, allow you to expand your consciousness, and allow you to be in a place of greatness. And really, at the end of the day, it brings you into a place where you become a better version of yourself. And so we are definitely excited about that. If this is your first time, please let us know what city, what state, what country you're listening from. And then also, if you can, go ahead and hit the like button. It helps us raise the algorithm. And then also, if you can, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Subscribe. And if any of these teachings on our channel have been significant to you, have been somewhat of a help to you, and have really opened your mind and your heart to some things, go ahead and hit that share button, copy the link, and send it to your friends, your loved ones, your family. We here at the Temple of Enlightenment, we believe that consciousness is our own reality. We believe that we have the ability to create our own worlds, and that we can create the experiences of the life that we want to experience. We believe that life gives to the giver and takes from the taker. We also believe that we don't let life dictate to us how to live, but we dictate to life how we want to live. And so we're excited about this new year of 2026. Once again, anybody that wants to schedule a consultation with me, go ahead, and you can go ahead and get that consultation. We're still working with people, setting up what are they expecting this year, what direction they're moving in. And it's very ironic because, we've been this past December, we've been pushing the readings. It seems like as soon as the new year came in, everybody just locked in to get a reading and get a consultation, which is understandable because we're trying to, find out what direction we need to move in 2026, and, trying to get locked in. And so it's understandable, the things that are happening. Let's go ahead and get in our spiritual mind treatment. Let's get in a comfortable position. And let's go ahead and quiet your mind, quiet your hearts. Take a deep breath and inhale and exhale. Again, take a deep breath and inhale and exhale. Once again, take a deep breath and inhale and exhale. There is one presence, one intelligence, and one source of all supply, moving through all things, expressing as all things. This presence is order. This presence is abundance. This presence is harmony unfolding perfectly. I recognize that the same intelligence that causes the stars to shine and the tides to rise is active within my mind right now. I affirm that lack is not my truth. Limitation is not my inheritance. Fear is not my authority. I am aligned with divine order. I am rooted in clarity. I am open to increase without resistance. As my consciousness rises, my capacity expands. As my awareness elevates, my life responds. I release struggle. I release urgency. I release the belief that I must suffer to receive. I accept peace as my foundation. I accept abundance as my natural state. I accept ascendancy as my present reality. And knowing that this word is already fulfilled, already active, already complete, I rest in gratitude. And so it is, and so it is. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome you once again to the Temple of Enlightenment International Spiritual Center. Please go ahead and hit the like button if you can. I also want to thank everybody for their donations. Your support is greatly appreciated. Those people who always support us financially, sending in love gifts, offerings, sowing into this ministry. I just want to take the time out to say thank you because it is greatly appreciated. We don't take anything for granted. Your donations help us to market. It helps us to get the word out about us and put our stuff all over social media. Helps us to try to build up our viewership, our listenership, our subscribers. And so, it helps us to broaden our horizon. And so we want to thank you. We don't take anything for granted, and we appreciate everything. Today I want to talk about the currency of becoming. Yes, the currency of becoming. I want to talk about why wealth follows your identity. I was listening to there's a stock guy that I watch. I've been watching him from the beginning, Wall Street Trapper, and he's a guy who he was in jail, and while he was in jail, he met a man who was a stockbroker. The stockbroker taught him the stock market game and taught him about stocks and everything. And when he got out, he began to get a job working as an iron worker, building the Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta. And while he was doing that, he was also doing the stocks. Anyway, he began to learn stocks and work the stocks, and then he started teaching people how to do stocks, and he created his own platform. He talked about that when he met this man, he talked about when you learn this knowledge and you get this understanding of the stock market and how investing and how to make money and so forth. He talked about that if you were to lose everything, you would get it right back, because it's not about you losing it. It's about the knowledge, the identity of the fact that you were who you were, and you know what you know. And so he the Wall Street Trapper guy that I'm talking about, and you can look him up on YouTube, and he has stuff for beginners who want to get into the stock market and so forth. But one of the things that I found very interesting was that he talked about if I lost everything, I'll be able to get it right back, and in less time than it took me to get there. Because now he has all the experience and the knowledge. When he started from the beginning the first time, he didn't have the experience. He didn't have the knowledge, but he's accumulated it. So now, even if he lost everything, he said he would be able to get everything right back again in half the time that it took for him to get it. And so today we're going to talk about the currency of becoming. Now, money consciousness, right? I want us to look at the money consciousness from the metaphysical perspective. Consciousness is your only reality. And so if we're going to be money magnets, and if we're going to be those that are going to always have money coming into us, unlimited streams of money, we've got to have a money consciousness. Money is not paper. Money is not digital numbers. Money is not wealth. Money is consciousness. Every physical thing begins non-physical. Thoughts precede form. Ideas precede structure. Identity precedes income. And when we look at that from a metaphysical perspective, Money is an agreement made visible through belief. This is some good stuff, ladies and gentlemen. It is a collective trust crystallized into symbol. And your relationship with money is not external, it's internal. Money consciousness is your inner capacity to interact with value without distortion. Let me say that one more time. Your money consciousness is your inner capacity to interact with value without distortion. Not how much you want, not how hard you work, but how stable your identity remains in expansion. This is why some people receive money and grow, and others receive money and collapse. Money does not test morality. Money tests ascendancy, to ascend. And so when we understand the ascendancy, I started to name today's teaching activating your money consciousness, right? But I didn't want to. I wanted to make it more simplified, and I wanted to, because Spirit has been really dealing with me in this identity thing. If you've been listening for the last couple of weeks, we've been teaching and we've really been learning about this identity factor and the factor of if I'm going to be successful, rich, and wealthy, it's not really about it's about my identity and how I identify myself. We live in a world today where people ask, how do you identify? Who do you identify as? How do you identify yourself? And we laugh and we make jokes about that. But I think in this time we're in now is some of the greatest times in the world, because you can be whatever you want to be. You can be whoever you want to be, and you can do whatever you want to do. Money is a flow. Ascendancy is the channel. Money is movement. That's why when you understand the currency of becoming, you understand that in order for money to flow through you to you, you are the currency of becoming. You are becoming currency. You identify as money. How do you identify as money, Issachar? By maybe studying the stock market, maybe reading Money Magazine, Money Today, maybe starting to open up a brokerage account, maybe start looking into other ways to make money, real estate, getting into tax deeds. There's so many different ways, creating a business, creating a digital platform, maybe doing a podcast, becoming a YouTube influencer. There's so many different ways of how you can, once you start really moving into the money consciousness identity, anything that stops moving decays. Water stagnates, energy blocks, money freezes. Wealth flows towards clarity. When the inner world is chaotic, money cannot stay. When emotions swing wildly, money avoids the environment. Money does not like volatility. This is why emotional maturity precedes wealth. Ascendancy is not ambition. Ascendancy is internal elevation. It is the moment your nervous system stops panicking during the increase. When your mind remains calm as the numbers grow, money does not leave because it is offended. Money leaves because the consciousness is unstable. Now listen, I said this the other day, and this is true. When you think about money, what we think about is money, the physical ramifications of money. You got to think about this. We live on Earth. Money never leaves the Earth. Money circulates. We work to get money, and when we get money, we pay bills. We circulate it through our circulation, and the goal is, hey, nobody can leave Earth with the money. So once they once we leave Earth, the money stays here, which means that all of the rich people, all of the money supposedly everybody has is still on Earth. Our goal is to find a way to get as much of the money that's on Earth to be circulated to us, or to find out how much money we want to be circulated to us. And it's up to you, because money never leaves the Earth. So there's no shortage of money. When people be like, "Oh, there's not enough," and we look at all this money that the United States is spending to other countries and different things. So there's not a shortage of money. Money never leaves the Earth. So what that means is, if money never leaves the Earth, we got to be in a position to find a way to get as much money as we want, because you got to want it. You got to be in a position to say, this is what I want to manifest. This is what I want to pull in, and you want to pull that into your circulation. Wealth seeks environments of order, and ascendancy is order. Money does not respond to desire. Desire is temporary. Money responds to identity. Identity is permanent. You do not attract what you want. Exactly. Like I just said, if money never leaves the Earth, and I want to uh, attract $100 million into my circulation, as long as I want it, it's not going to happen. But I have to identify and come into the consciousness of who I am and what it is. And I have to become the $100 million, because you only get out of life what you become, not what you want. That's why today's lesson is the currency of becoming. You're going to become currency. How do you do that, Issachar? You become the currency by studying currency, by studying how does money move, how does money operate. So, a lot of us are there's nothing wrong with us. What I mean by that is, some people have a feel like, oh, I wasn't born with a silver spoon in my mouth, or I wasn't born with money, my family wasn't rich, and so we feel like, oh, maybe something is wrong with us, or maybe it's just not meant for us. No, 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 no. What needs to happen is you need to have the right thinking, the right thinking. And once you start thinking right and open up your mind to how money operates, and you understand the currency of becoming, you're going to become currency. You're going to become money. You're going to become wealthy. You're going to become rich. And you're going to understand that as long as I want money, I'll never get money. But once I become money, money starts coming from everywhere. You know, when you look at, for example, um, the actress Tiana Taylor, she's been on fire. She's been doing a lot of movies. She's been working a lot, and she's on everybody's radar right now. She just won the Golden Globe, and I said to myself, I said, you know, um, not only is she working a lot and really in a lot of movies, and that's great, but it's the caliber of actors and actresses that she's working with, and it's such at a higher level. Now, this is a woman who just went through a public divorce, and when you listen to her interview, you can hear her identity as she knows who she is. She's in the movie with Leonardo DiCaprio and Sean Penn. She just which she won the Golden Globe for, and then just this past Friday, she was in a new movie released on Netflix called Rip. R.I.P. And it's Ben Affleck and Matt Damon. So she's working. She was just in another TV show on Netflix with the Kardashians and with Kim Kardashian and Glenn Close. Um, she's really, really at a stage of her career where you can see the identity factor is there. And she's not walking around and she wants to be an actress and she wants to do movies. She's there. She's identified as that. You attract what you have permission to embody. If your identity is I am blind, I am behind, money stays ahead. If your identity is I am catching up, money remains slightly distant. If your identity becomes I am stable in expansion, money settles in. Ascendancy is not arrogance. It is internal coherence. It is knowing who you are without apology. Wealth does not chase insecurity. Wealth recognizes ascendancy instantly. You know, one of the things about insecurity, and I want to teach on this, insecurity is a dangerous thing. It could really mess you up because insecurity means that you have an issue. You don't believe who you are. You don't know who you are. And you will put up all kind of bluffers and all kind of false pretenses to guard and to hide your insecurity. But it'll also make you do things that are foolish and things that are not wise when you're insecure. And so when you identify with money and identify with wealth, you kind of eliminate that insecurity. You know, that's something that I think it's very vital that we look at is the ability to remove insecurity, even in relationships. You know, when you're in a relationship with somebody, that insecurity factor can be a real, real challenge. And it could really hurt the relationship because you have one person who's loving and willing to help their partner, and the other one, because of the insecurity, now it becomes sort of like a manipulative kind of spectacle. And so, when you think about a relationship with money, how is money going to feel when there's an insecurity there? So, I think that we need to really, really look at that and be honest with ourselves. Some of you are listening now. You may have some insecurities. Whatever insecurities you have, I would go ahead and deal with them. If you don't like it, maybe you have an insecurity about your weight, maybe you have an insecurity about your job and where you work at, or you don't like the way you look, or you don't like the way something's going in life. Deal with that. Work on that. Begin to make your life the way that you want it. Begin to make it, and you'll see things really, really opening up. Ascendancy is activated through stages. The first stage is awareness. You observe your thoughts around money. The second is neutrality. Money stops carrying an emotional charge. The third, normalization. Large numbers feel ordinary. Fourth, embodiment. You behave as someone who can hold overflow. Fifth, stabilization. Money no longer gives, money no longer excites or frightens you. So when you have ascended to a level of mastery, a level of when you have ascended to the currency of becoming, you tap into your awareness, your neutrality, your normalization, your embodiment, and your stabilization. you understand that these 5 levels are what actually bring us into the level of ascendancy, which means I've ascended to the place now where I understand who I am. I tell people this: you never have to tell people who you are. If a husband and wife are talking to each other, and the husband says, "I'm the husband, you're the wife," if he has to physically say that, that means that he's not operating as a husband. Because anytime you have to display or tell people who you are, it means that you're not acting in that capacity. Same thing with a parent and a child. If a parent has to tell the child, "I'm the parent and you're the child," then it signifies that the parent has not been acting or has not been walking in the identity of a parent, and so she has to display that. You never have to display who you are and who you identify as. You should be already operating as that. You know how many times I've been in a room with people and I've been just, being myself, and somebody will walk up to me and start talking to me and say, "Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were in charge. I thought you were the one in charge. I'm sorry. I didn't say nothing to anybody. I was just in the room." But when you walk in your consciousness and you walk in who you are, you don't have to say anything. And it's happened plenty of times when I've been in a room and people will walk up to me and start talking to me and say, "Oh, I thought, I thought everybody was with you. I thought you were the one in charge. I thought that everybody was with you. I'm sorry, I don't, and so that's what happens. But it happens by your identity. What do you identify with? What do you come into your consciousness with? The ability to be who you are. Excitement repels wealth. Calmness attracts it. Ascendancy is calm. When urgency disappears, money arrives. Yeah, you don't you want to make sure that you understand the significance of money. Money is a tool. One of the things I've learned over these last couple of years, number one, money is the easiest thing to replace. It is. It is the easiest thing to replace. And when you understand that, and you understand that it's a tool, um, we sometimes forget that, you know, um, it's not about getting the money. It's also about understanding what to do with the money when you get it. You know, we were having a conversation the other day about the Powerball winners and how these Powerball winners who are winning these $1 billion Powerballs, and when they get this money within 3 to 5 years, they're broke, and everybody's like, that's unbelievable. It doesn't make sense. But when you don't know what to do with money, you don't operate in that identity, in that consciousness, money leaves you. There's somebody listening right now that says, times are hard, and I'm going to go ahead and get a second job. I'm going to go ahead and get a third job because I need to make ends meet. I need to do this. I need to do that. And that's great. I mean, I don't know what your situation is, but I think also that there may be a way that you could redefine your identity with money. And how do you identify with money? And understand that you are currency. And understand that you may not have to get a second job. You just need to become more money consciousness, more conscious of money. You need to tap into your money consciousness and then also understand the currency of your becoming. And when you do that, you'll see things really begin to open up. And And you'll find yourself saying, this may be the actual um, level that shows me how I was, to show me that I've ascended to the level of identifying as money, or the currency of becoming, that I've become currency. One of the things you're going to notice, that you're going to stop rushing, you're going to stop explaining, you'll stop justifying your prices, you'll stop panicking at bills, you'll start chasing opportunities, you begin selecting them. Money becomes quieter but larger. You feel rooted, you think long term, you stop reacting emotionally, you respond strategically. Ascendancy feels like gravity, not force. People trust you, opportunities find you, money feels safe near you. So when you get to those levels of the not rushing, not panicking, not explaining, you're walking in your you're walking in your authority. You're walking in your um, in your capacity. You'll see that happening. How many times have people? How many times have you? I've been in a restaurant sometimes, or um, and I've been, maybe walking around, going to the bathroom, and somebody walks up to me and says, "Hey, where's this? Where's this at?" And I'm like, "Sorry, ma'am, I don't work here. I don't know." Oh, I thought you were the manager. So and so much of a capacity, I laugh because I say, "Wait a minute, do I look like a manager?" But when you're walking in your identity, when you're walking and who you are, people look at you and say, "Oh, he looks like he's in charge. He looks like," and so that's the way you want money to say, "Oh, this person looks like they're money ready. They're ready for money." Um, we're moving into a digital currency soon, ladies and gentlemen, where the physical dollar bill that we used to hold on to will no longer exist. And so now we're looking at Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, digital finances, and when we start working with that, um, we'll start really moving into that area. You know, um, I had a conversation yesterday with some people, and I'm not really pushing it too heavy here in our community, but I would recommend that everybody at some point start working with AI. I know a lot of people are afraid of it. I know a lot of people are really, in a position where they're like, I don't know, I don't really know about too much about AI. But I'm telling you that if you really want to tap into your money consciousness, and you really want to create multiple streams of income, and you really want to have money just come in, so much money that you can't receive it, that your cup overflows, you want to start working with AI every day, all day. Um, AI is a tool, ladies and gentlemen. It's not the devil. It's not, the secret hidden monster. It's a tool, just like a person that puts glasses on. That's what AI is. AI is glasses. I can't really see these words, so I could put these glasses on that will help me to see better. Um, Women put on makeup. Women put on wigs and stuff. Those it's AI. It's a tool. It's an enhancer, right? I can walk from Las Vegas to Boston, or I can drive, or I can take an airplane. So an airplane would be a symbol of AI, because it would allow me to get from Las Vegas to Boston in a short period of time, quicker and more efficiently. And so I just want you guys to take a look at that. I haven't really been pushing the AI agenda, but I'm heavy into AI. And maybe I might do something about that uh, separately outside of our regular weekly um, teachings on Sunday. But I think that everybody needs to really start working with AI and take a look at it. There's some amazing things happening. And then especially those of you that have certain jobs, you know. So it's better for me, and it's only right for me to impart that wisdom because um, I don't want to see my people, my community, be affected. I want us to be ahead of the game. I want us to be 10 steps ahead, so that when these major changes and these major things happen, we're in position to win. We're in position. Why? Because winners always win. Losers will always lose. Remember, losing and winning is all about consciousness. Do I have a winning consciousness or a losing consciousness? When you ascend to the level of money and the level of wealth and the level of your money consciousness, there's a lot of things that start happening. Number one, you stop surviving. That's number one. Number two, you begin designing. You start designing your life. That's why those of you that get a consultation with me, that's what we do. We try to design your year. We try to design your life. What kind of life do I want? What kind of experiences do I want? So you start designing. You start thinking in systems. You build leverage. You protect your time. You protect your peace. You no longer seek validation through spending. You spend intentionally. Money becomes a tool, not an emotion. You do not fear wealth, you respect it. And because you respect it, it remains. Ascendancy creates continuality. Ascendancy creates continuality, which means that I want to be able to, once I ascend to this level, ascending to the level of understanding, you know, uh, how does a person understand ascending to the level of fatherhood or motherhood? How does a person ascend to becoming a manager or a supervisor? When you're working as an employee and you get ready to become a manager, what do? They take you to training because they have to help you on to how to shift your identity from an employee to a manager or a supervisor. And when you ascend to that level and identify, you realize that there's a different identity now. I'm no longer an employee, I'm a manager, I'm a supervisor now. And as a supervisor, there's just a different identity, there's a different expectation that it's almost like at that level that you've ascended to, things are totally different. You are aware of things that the employees are not aware of. You can see things and have access to things that the employees don't have access to. And so the same thing, ladies and gentlemen, when you ascend to your level of wealth, when you ascend to your level of money consciousness, and when you ascend to your level of becoming money, you start to understand things about money that you never saw before. You start to hear and listen and desire things, and things are open to you. There's a certain level of awareness that you didn't have before. And so when those things happen, you're now ready to move into a different level. And I think that it's wonderful. I think that when you really understand this and you really get this in motion, you'll see some great things happening. As consciousness rises, sensitivity increases. Ascendancy must be protected. Not everyone understands elevation. Some will protect guilt. Some will protect fear. Some will attempt emotional access. Protection is not arrogance. Protection is bold. You do not announce growth prematurely. You do not explain abundance to struggle addicted minds. You do not argue with limitation. Ascendancy requires privacy. See, when you elevate to these levels, you don't have to argue with people. You don't have to explain anything to people. You know, anybody who's listening, who's ever been an employee, I'm just using this as an example. You were an employee, and then you got tapped, and now you have been elevated to a manager or supervisor. Uh, Automatically, when you identify, because you go through the training and you start identifying as this manager, supervisor, the people who used to be employees look at you different now. They say, "Oh, this person think he's better than us." Or they think they better because they got a new position. They're the manager now. Or they can't talk to us. They can't. No, I identify as something different. So I don't have to explain anything. I don't have to apologize. I identify as who I am. And so when you identify as currency, when you identify as money, when you identify and activate your money consciousness, you don't have to explain anything to anybody. You don't have to apologize to anybody. No whatsoever. Ascendancy requires privacy, not secrecy, privacy, containment, because energy leaks through oversharing. Your peace is expensive, guarded. You know, one of the things that I talk to people about is um, their peace. You know, in life, we get so caught up in what we see. We get so caught up in what we see on social media, what we see on TV, what we see in the movies, that we don't realize that those things are not real. And so we get this mindset that, oh, I need to be that, I need to be this. And you go after those things only to find out that they didn't fulfill you as you thought they would. You know, um, when you have peace, comfort, those things you need to guard, privacy, being able to be who you want to be and be who you are, and not have to have chaos and drama. You start to look at peace in a whole different way. Money does not bypass the nervous system. If your body does not feel safe with increase, your mind will reject it, even while saying it wants it. This is why some people earn more and feel more anxious instead of more free. You know, this takes time. Nothing happens overnight. We, everybody, including me, we're all a work in progress. Nothing happens overnight. They say the nervous system is the gatekeeper of wealth. And when you know how to operate it and work with it, they said that people who really understood it begin to identify with their currency. They have become the currency of becoming. Listen, Shakespeare said it best. To be or not to be, that is the question. Their income expanded. Their nervous system did not. Ascendancy is not mental alone, it's somatic. Your body must learn that overflow is not danger, that stability is not temporary, that peace does not precede loss. Wealth cannot remain where the body expects collapse. Money avoids panic. Money avoids chaos. Ascendancy occurs when the body learns to remain calm during expansion, when success no longer triggers fear, when peace no longer feels unfamiliar. This is not positive thinking. This is psychological permission. Until the body relaxes, wealth cannot settle. And so when you get used to receiving money and operating with money and not being afraid of money, um, the way we understand money, the way we look at money, the way that we really work with money, you begin to see your identity of who you are. And anybody who makes money and has a lot of money, look at who they identify as. Look how they move and operate. Look at it, watch it. People who have a lot of money, people who are we consider wealth or successful, just watch how they operate, watch how they identify. Because life doesn't go by what you want. It only gives you who you become. Many people do not lack money. They lack permission to live without hardship. Struggle becomes proof of worth. Suffering becomes morality. Ease becomes suspicious. So when wealth approaches, guilt arises. Fear whispers, if life gets easier, who will I be? Ascendancy requires releasing ancestral contracts. The agreement that says, I must suffer to belong. I must struggle to be worthy. I must carry what others carried. But you are not here to repeat survival. You are here to complete it. Ascendancy is not betrayal of your past. It is the healing of it. When struggle is no longer your identity, wealth no longer feels forbidden. Money is allowed to arrive because pain is no longer required. Money does not chase people. Money settles into environments. Just like nature, seeds grow where soil is prepared. Water collects where land is stable. Wealth accumulates where consciousness is consistent. You did not get rich. You became fertile. You became structured. You became coherent. You became predictable in your value, reliable in your decisions, stable in your emotions. Ascendancy is not speed. Ascendancy is integrity. Money trusts environments that do not fluctuate wildly. We're disciples. We're disciples of learning about money. We're disciples. We're learning about money. We're the disciples of money. When you realize what you're becoming, the elevation of what you're becoming, it changes your thinking pattern. It changes everything. You understand that where identity does not fracture under pressure, When you become that environment, money no longer visits, it resides. Everybody listening to me right now, you are a money magnet. And once you become money and you realize right now you're a magnet, whether you believe it or not. So you could be a magnet for drama, you could be a magnet for success, you could be a magnet for hardship, you could be a magnet for being broke, you can be a magnet for depression, you can be a magnet for lack. Everybody's a magnet. It depends on what are you magnetizing into your life. And so if you're magnetizing the wrong things, you got to change who you are. And you got to identify as somebody else and something else. You got to understand the currency of becoming. I got to become money. I got to become currency. I got to become money. I got to become wealth. I got to step in and activate my money consciousness. It's not too late for you to identify, to change your identity. It's not too late. Like I said, those of you that want to go ahead and click and get a consultation with me, go ahead. We can get some things going with you and really get you on the right path. Listen, I also want to thank everybody for, once again, your commitment, your consistency with our community. Definitely continue to send people, share, and most importantly, if you haven't done so, please hit the like button. It helps us raise the algorithms. Also, I want to say thank you to everybody who's been sending emails and just questions and comments about the teachings and different things. We've been reaching out to you guys, and we want to say thank you. Um, Today is the new moon, 28 degrees of Capricorn. And so this is a good time, ladies and gentlemen, to open yourselves up to receive something good from the universe. What is it that I want to receive? What is it that I want to manifest? Get your journals, get your books out, and start writing down the things that you want to manifest, the things that you want to bring into your life, the things that you want to expand and grow. And so this is a great time like no other to do it on today, because today is the new moon. So I want to thank everybody for your support. Um, if you would like to be a blessing to the Temple of Enlightenment and you would like to sow a seed or donate to our organization, there's 4 ways that you can give. The first way is going to be our Cash App, which is $TOESC. That's $TOESC. Once again, all of the ways to give are also in the description on the YouTube page. We also have Zelle and PayPal. So if you want to use Zelle or PayPal, we also have our email, which is info, info at toesc.org. That's info at toesc.org. That's for PayPal and Zelle. And then also we have our Venmo. For those of you that want to use Venmo, Venmo is going to be Issachar Bey at gmail.com. That's ISSACHARBEY at gmail.com. That's Issachar Bey at gmail.com. These are the 4 ways that you can give. I want to thank all of you for tuning in to another impactful week. I hope that everybody walks away with a different level of consciousness, with a different level of mindset to say, man, I really got to move into the currency of becoming. I really want to move into the currency of understanding how to become money, how to operate in money, how to move in a money consciousness so that I can be the magnet and start to magnetize money. And so when you do that, you'll see things really opening. I like to say this one thing. Your destiny is not a matter of chance. It's a matter of choice. I love you, and there's nothing you can do about it.